and welcome to Springfield Career Insights. Tonight, we begin a season designed for every young person, parent, and family navigating the rising cost of living. We live in a time where salaries are shrinking, prices are rising, and survival requires more than hard work. It requires skill, discipline, and strategy. So we ask, what does it take for an ordinary young person to survive and even build a future where life feels unaffordable? Is financial stability a privilege, or is it a skill that can be learned step by step? To guide us, we are joined by His Excellency Dr. Godfrey Gandawa, President of Springfield Research University, Architect of Education 6.0, and a continental voice on human behavior, economic survival, and youth empowerment. President, welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. At Springfield, we teach that survival is not an accident. It is a discipline. Budgeting becomes the shield, saving becomes the anchor, and small income streams become the stepping stones that protect dignity in difficult times. When young people learn to manage the little they have, they begin to build the future they deserve.
Thank you, Professor. President, many young people feel overwhelmed by rising prices and shrinking opportunities. From your perspective, what skills matter most in surviving in this economy?
Thank you, Doctor. So when a young person looks at rising prices, shrinking opportunities, and an economy that feels like it is closing its doors, it is easy to believe the world is working against them. But the truth is this: every generation survives its storms through skill, not circumstance. And in this economic climate, three skills rise above all. Not technical skills, but survival skills, mobility skills, and identity skills. The skill of adaptability. So the world is no longer rewarding the strongest or the most educated. It is rewarding the most adaptable. So the young person who says, if the door closes, I will build another door. If the market shifts, I will shift with it. If the world changes, I will not freeze, I will evolve. Adaptability is not flexibility. Flexibility bends, but adaptability transforms. You see? In a volatile economy, the adaptable young person becomes unbreakable. Then, the skill of learning fast. Today, knowledge expires like milk. A skill learned in January can be irrelevant in December. So the young person who survives is not the one who knows the most, but the one who can learn the fastest. The ability to pick up new tools, understand new systems, adjust to new industries, and reinvent yourself without fear is more valuable than any certificate. In this economy, your learning speed is your learning and earning speed. Now, the skill of creating value. So, when money becomes tight, the world stops paying for effort and starts paying for what? For impact. The young person who survives is the one who can answer one question. What problem can I solve that people are willing to pay for? Not qualifications, not titles, not potential, but value. If you can solve a problem, you will never be unemployed. If you can solve it well, you will never be poor. If you can solve it uniquely, you will never be replaceable. So technically, in summary, in this economic climate, the skills that matter most are not found in textbooks, Doctor. They are found in the character of a young person who refuses to be defeated by the times, adaptability to survive, learning speed to stay relevant, and value creation to rise above the noise. So when the young person masters these three, the economy may shake, but it will never break.
Thank you, Professor. President, some young people feel embarrassed to start small or take low-paying work. How should they reframe this mindset?
Thank you, Doctor. So embarrassment is one of the quietest prisons a young person can live in. You see, it doesn't shout, it whispers. It whispers, people are watching. It whispers, you should be further by now. It whispers, if you start small, they will laugh. And because of that whisper, many young people would rather stay stuck than be seen beginning. But here is the truth, and it is a truth that frees. There is nothing undignified about starting small. What is undignified is allowing pride to delay your destiny. A small beginning is not a verdict, it is a seed. And the seeds never look like the forests they will one day become. When a young person takes a low-paying job, they are not shrinking their future. They are building the muscles that future will require: discipline, consistency, humility, endurance. These are not learned in comfort. They are learned in the places where you feel unseen. And the irony in this is the same people who mock your beginning will one day ask how you arrived at your becoming. And a young person must reframe the question. Not what will people think if they see me doing this, but what will my future gain if I learn from this? Because the truth is simple, Doctor. A small job may not last. A small salary may not last. But the character you build in that season, that becomes permanent. That becomes the foundation of everything you will one day carry. And let me say this gently. You cannot rise to the top if you are too embarrassed to stand at the bottom. Every destiny is a humble doorway. Every great story begins in a place that does not look like greatness. So, to the young person watching, do not let embarrassment rob you of your beginning. Do not let pride delay your progress. Do not let comparison steal your courage. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Start even with no one perhaps. Because one day, when the story is told, the world will not remember the smallness of your start, only the greatness of your rise.
Thank you, Professor. President, we often emphasize adaptability. Why is adaptability more important now than ever before?
Thank you, Doctor. So adaptability has always mattered. But today, it is the difference between standing in what and sinking. We are living in a world where the ground shifts faster than our plans, where industries evolve overnight, where certainty has become a luxury and rigidity a liability. Young people are not navigating the same world their parents entered. You see, they are navigating a world where change is no longer an event, it is the environment. And in such a world, adaptability becomes a form of intelligence. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to adjust without losing yourself, to reinvent without fear, to say, if the world moves, I'll move with it, and I will not apologize for evolving. Adaptability matters now because the economy is unpredictable, jobs appear and disappear, skills expire, opportunities migrate. And the young person who insists on staying the same in a world that refuses to stay still will always feel left behind. But the adaptable young person, the one who can learn, unlearn, relearn, the one who can shift direction without losing momentum, the one who can turn setbacks into strategy, that young person becomes unstoppable. Adaptability is not weakness, it is agility. It is survival. It is the quiet confidence that says, I may not control the storm, but I can adjust my sails. And here's the deeper truth, doctor. Adaptability protects dignity because when life changes, you do not collapse, you adjust. When plans fail, you do not break, you pivot. When the world closes one door, you do not mourn, you build another. This generation is not being asked to be perfect. It is being asked to be flexible, to be courageous enough to evolve, to be humble enough to learn again, to be wise enough to recognize that survival now belongs to those who can shift without losing their center. Adaptability, doctor, is the new strength. It is the new currents. It is the new pathway to stability in a world that refuses to stand still.
Thank you, Professor. How can young people identify income opportunities that are real, ethical, and sustainable?
Thank you, Doctor. So this is one of the most urgent questions for our generation because desperation has made many young people vulnerable to exploitation, shortcuts, and illusion disguised as opportunities. And in a world where everyone is selling something, a dream, a scheme, a promise, discernment becomes survival skill. So young people must understand this truth. A real opportunity builds you. A fake opportunity drains you. And an ethical opportunity stains you. So how do they tell the difference? Is the question. First, a real opportunity is clarity. It tells you what you will do, how you will earn, and what value you bring. Anything that hides detail, rushes you, or pressures you into secrecy is not an opportunity, doctor. It is a trap. Second, a real opportunity aligns with your values. If you must lie, manipulate, or exploit to earn, the money may come quickly, but dignity lives quietly. And once dignity leaves, peace follows it out the door. Young people must choose income that allows them to sleep at night, not income that forces them to hide in the day. And third, a sustainable opportunity grows with your effort, not with your recruitment. If the money depends on how many people you bring in, not on the work you actually do, that is not a business. It is a pyramid wearing perfume. Fourth, a real opportunity respects your time and your boundaries. It does not demand everything while giving you nothing. It does not promise the world while delivering crumbs. It does not make you feel small so it can feel big. And finally, a real opportunity leaves you better, wiser, and more skilled, more connected, more confident. Even if the money is small at first, the growth is real. And growth is the currency that never loses value. So to the young person listening, do not chase shiny things. Do not be seduced by shortcuts. Do not let hunger blind you to danger. Look for opportunities that build your character, sharpen your skills, and honor your dignity. Because the right opportunity does not just prepare you, it prepares you. It shapes you into someone who can create, sustain, and multiply income long after the opportunity itself has passed. So choose wisely. Your future is too expensive to gamble on illusions.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to our gospel song, When Heaven Stands With Me.
I've been walking through the valleys of uncertainty, where shadows stretch longer than my strength. I've felt the weight of battles I never chose, and the silence of nights that seem too heavy to bear. I wondered if I was standing alone, if my prayers were reaching anywhere at all. The turning point, but then a stillness wrapped around my trembling, a holy calm that whispered through my bones. It wasn't the absence of the storm, just the presence of someone greater. And suddenly I knew I wasn't standing by myself. When heaven stands with me, no fear can claim the ground beneath my feet. When heaven stands with me, every giant loses power, every shadow starts to flee. When heaven stands with me, I rise with strength, not my own. Transformation, you open my eyes to the armies of your glory, to angels marching where my courage failed. You showed me battles already won in the unseen, victories written long before I ever prayed. Now every step feels like walking in your promise, every breath a reminder that I'm held. And now I know the sound of holy backing, it's the quiet thunder of your presence near. You teach my heart to trust your covering, you teach my spirit how to stand unshaken. When heaven stands with me, no fear can claim the ground beneath my feet. When heaven stands with me, every giant loses power, every shadow starts to flee. When heaven stands with me, I rise with strength, not my own. Stand with me, Lord. Let your glory be the shield around my soul. Stand with me, Lord. Let your nearness be the courage that I hold. Stand with me until my life becomes a testimony of your strength. When heaven stands with me, no fear can claim the ground beneath my feet. When heaven stands with me, every giant loses power, every shadow starts to flee. When heaven stands with me, I rise with strength, not my own. I rise because you stand. You stand.
let's continue with our discussion. What are the most common financial mistakes young people make during tough economic times?
Thank you, Doctor. So, when the economy tightens, young people often make mistakes not because they are careless, but because they are afraid, pressured, or trying to survive without guidance. And in that emotional storm, it is easy to choose what feels urgent over what is wise. But tough times require sharper thinking, not faster spending. Here is the most common financial traps young people fall into, and the ones they must escape if they want to protect their future. So many young people try to maintain an image they can no longer afford. They keep the lifestyle of better days while their income belongs to harder days. And nothing drains dignity faster than performing prosperity while singing in private. Another mistake is using debt as a life jacket. Loans, credit, and quick money schemes like relief. But they are actually anchors. They pull you deeper. They turn temporary problems into long-term chains. So young people also fall into the trap of chasing shortcuts, high-risk hustles, unethical deals, or opportunities that promise faster returns. But in tough times, shortcuts are not shortcuts. They are detours into deeper trouble. Then there is financial silence, that's suffering alone, pretending everything is fine, refusing to ask for help, or renegotiate responsibilities. Silence is expensive. If you it forces you to carry, burdens that could have been shared or reduced. Another common mistake is failing to track money. In hard times, every dollar must have a destination. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will decide for you, and it always chooses the wrong place. And perhaps the most painful mistake is abandoning long-term goals because of short-term pressure. Stopping learning, stopping saving, stopping growth. But tough times are not a signal to shrink your future, you see. They are a signal to protect it even more fiercely. Young people must understand this. Financial mistakes in hard times are not failures, they are lessons. But only if you recognize them early, correct them boldly, and refuse to repeat them. Because survival is not just about enduring the storm, Doctor. It is about emerging from it wiser, stronger, and ready for the next chapter.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people protect themselves from emotional burnout caused by financial pressure?
Thank you, Doctor. So financial pressure does not only drain pockets, it drains souls, it steals sleep, it tightens the chest, it makes a young person feel like they are running a race with no finish line. And if they are not careful, the weight of survival becomes heavier than survival itself. But emotional burnout is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that human being has been carrying too much for too long without rest, without support, without room to breathe. So, how does a young person protect themselves? First, they must give themselves permission to be human. Not every day will be strong. Not every moment will be brave. And that is allowed. The pressure becomes lighter when the moment you stop pretending you are made of steel. Second, they must separate their worth from their wallet. You are not failing because you are struggling. You are not inadequate because the economy is harsh. Your value is not measured by your income. It is measured by your resilience, Doctor, your integrity, your effort, your heart. And third, They must create small pockets of peace, a walk, a prayer, a moment of silence, a conversation with someone who understands. So these small rituals become anchors in a storm that refuses to come. And fourth, they must talk before they break. So silence is their heaviest burden. Sharing the load with family, with friends, with someone who listens does not remove the pressure, but it redistributes it. And sometimes redistribution is all you need to breathe again. And fifth, they must set boundaries with courage. You cannot save everyone. You cannot carry every expectation. You cannot meet every demand. Protecting your emotional health is not selfish. It is strategic because a burnout young person cannot help anyone, including themselves. And finally, they must hold on to this truth, doctor. Hard seasons do not last forever, but broken spirits take longer to heal. Protect your spirit, guard your mind, preserve your peace. Because when the pressure passes, and it will, you will need your strength for the opportunities that follow.
Thank you, Professor. What role does community play in helping young people survive the cost of living?
Thank you, Doctor. So community is no longer a luxury. It is a lifeline. In a world where the cost of living rises faster than hope, no young person is meant to survive alone. Isolation makes pressure heavier. Community makes it bearable. When life becomes expensive, community becomes the economy of care, a place where resources stretch further, burdens feel lighter, and survival becomes what? A shared project instead of a private struggle. Community matters because it gives young people three things the economy cannot offer. The first one is support that does not cost money. A listening ear, a shared meal, a borrowed tool, a ride to work. These small acts reduce pressure without increasing expenses. Sometimes the difference between breaking and surviving is simply having someone to call. And secondly, knowledge that shortcuts years of struggle. In community, information circulates. Sometimes someone knows where opportunities are. Someone knows which scams to avoid. Someone knows how to start a side hustle, negotiate a salary, or stretch a budget. Wisdom becomes communal wealth. And third, collaboration that multiplies possibility. 2 people can share rent, 3 can start a project, 5 can build a network. Community turns individual effort into collective strength. It transforms I can't into we can. And here is the deeper truth, Doctor. Community restores dignity. Because when you are surrounded by people who understand your struggle, you no longer feel ashamed of it. You no longer feel like you are failing alone. You realize that survival is not a personal flaw. It is a what? A shared human journey. Young people must therefore build circles that uplift, not drain. Circles that share, not compete. Circles that encourage, not embarrass. Because in hard times, the strongest currency is not money. It is people. A supportive community does not remove the cost of living, but it makes the cost of living survivable.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to our gospel song, The River That Remembers My Name.
The human condition. I've been searching for the places where my soul once breathed, where hope ran freely like water through my days. But life grew heavy and the currents changed, and I forgot the sound of my own If grace still flowed toward the parts of me that faded, the turning point. But then I felt a stirring deep within the quiet, a gentle pull like water calling me home. It wasn't memory, it was mercy, a river rising with my name on its breath. You are the river that remembers my name, flowing through the valleys where I lost myself. You are the river that remembers my name, carrying every broken piece back to your well. You are the river that remembers my name, and you lead me where I belong. Transformation, transformation. You wash the dust from dreams I thought were buried. You revive the echoes of who I was meant to be. Now every step feels like walking beside redemption. Every breath a reminder that you still call me yours. I'm learning to trust. I'm learning to trust the current of your kindness, the way it finds me even when I wander far. And now I know the sound of holy remembrance. It's the flow of grace returning me to life. You teach my heart to follow your waters. You teach my spirit how to rise. You are the river that remembers my name, flowing through the valleys where I lost myself. You are the river that remembers my name, carrying every broken piece back to your well. You are the river that remembers my name, and you lead me where I belong. The prophetic moment, carry me, Lord. Let your waters cleanse the places. Time for God. Carry me, Lord. Let your flow restore the parts I thought were gone. Carry me until my life runs with your grace again. You are the river that remembers my name, flowing through the valleys where I lost myself. You are the river that remembers my name, carrying every broken piece back to your well. You are the river that remembers my name, and you lead me where I belong. You lead me home again.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. How can young people build resilience when they feel like their efforts are not producing results?
Well, thank you, Doctor. So one of the most painful seasons a young person can face is the season of effort without evidence. When you are working, pushing, trying, sacrificing, yet nothing seems to move. It is in that silent, frustrating space that resilience is either born or broken. But here is the truth I want every young person to hold on to. The results are not the first sign of progress, Doctor. Growth is. And growth often happens long before the world can see it. Resilience begins with understanding that effort is never wasted. even when the outcome is delayed, the process is shaping you. It is strengthening your discipline, sharpening your character, and preparing you for opportunities that require a stronger version of yourself. To build resilience, a young person must first shift their focus from outcomes to foundations. Ask not, what did I get? Ask, what did I become? Because becoming is the work that makes getting possible. Second, they must break the myth of overnight success. Every strong tree spends years growing underground before it ever rises above the soil. Your roots are forming in the dark, and the roots matter more than branches. Third, they must celebrate small wins. Not every victory is loud. Some victories are quiet, waking up again, trying again, learning again, refusing to quit. These small wins accumulate into breakthroughs. And fourth, they must protect their environment. Resilience dies in spaces filled with comparison, negativity, and pressure to perform. But it thrives in circles that encourage, uplift, and remind you that slow progress is still progress. And fifth, they must rest without guilt. Rest is not quitting, rest is maintenance. A tired mind cannot see possibilities, and a burn-out heart cannot carry that. Sometimes resilience is not pushing harder, it is pausing wisely. And finally, they must embrace this truth. You are not failing because the results are slow. You are growing because you have not stopped. And the resilience is not built in seasons of applause. It is built in seasons of silence. When you keep showing up, keep believing, keep building, even when nothing seems to be moving. Because one day, the results will come suddenly. But the resilience you build slowly is what will sustain you.
Thank you, Professor. President, what is one skill every young person should master immediately to survive this economy?
Thank you, Doctor. If I had to choose only one skill, one ability that could carry a young person through this unpredictable and forgiving economy, it would be the skill of learning quickly. Not a degree, not a talent, not a connection, but the ability to absorb, adapt, and apply new knowledge at speed. Because the world we live in now does not reward the strongest or even the most educated. It rewards the most adaptable learner. Learning quickly means you can shift when the market shifts. It means you can reinvent yourself when an industry collapses. It means you can turn a new tool, a new platform, a new idea into income before the opportunity closes. It means you are never stuck, never cornered, never outdated. So a young person who learns fast becomes economically bulletproof. They can move from one skill to another, from one income stream to another, from one opportunity to another. They are never trapped by what they studied, where they come from, or what they should know. And here is the deeper truth, Doctor. When you learn fast, you fear less. Because you know that even if life changes tomorrow, you can change with it. You can rebuild, you can reskill, you can rise again. In this economy, the greatest security is not a job. It is the ability to learn whatever the next job requires. So to the young person listening, master the art of learning. Be curious, be teachable, be willing to start again. Because the world belongs to those who can evolve without breaking, Doctor.
Thank you, Professor. How can young people avoid comparing their financial progress to others, especially on social media?
Thank you, Doctor. So comparison is one of the most silent thieves of peace in this generation. And nowhere does it strike harder than on social media. A place where people post their highlights while hiding their hardships, their victories while concealing their valleys. Young people must understand this truth, Doctor. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's edited trailer. No one wins that battle. So, how do they protect themselves? First, they must remember that social media is a stage, not a mirror. People post the moment they bought the car, not the years they walked. You see? They post the holiday, not the debt. They post the success, not the sleepless nights. You cannot measure your journey with someone else's filtered reality. Second, Doctor, they must anchor their identity in purpose, not performance. When you know who you are and where you are going, someone else's progress stops feeling like a threat. You realize that destiny is not a race, it is a route. And every route has its own timing. And third, they must practice gratitude intentionally. Gratitude shifts the mind from I lack to I have. It reminds you that progress is not only measured in possessions, but in growth, resilience, and character. And a grateful heart is harder to intimidate. Fourth, they must curate their digital environment. Unfollow accounts that trigger insecurity. Unfollow. Mute voices that pressure you. Follow people who inspire growth, not comparison. Your feed shapes your feelings. You choose wisely. And fifth, they must focus on their lane with discipline. Comparison distracts. Focus builds, Doctor. When you pour your energy into your own journey, your progress becomes louder than your envy. And finally, they must embrace this liberating truth. You are not late. You are not behind. You are on your timeline, not theirs. The economy may be harsh, but comparison makes it harsher. Protect your mind, protect your peace, protect your pace, because the only progress that matters is the one that moves you forward, Doctor.
Wow, this is amazing. Let's take a commercial break and stay tuned.
At Springfield Research University, we don't teach to pass exams, we encode futures. Grounded in Education 6.0 and powered by STEMmer, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine and automation, we deliver modular, sovereign learning across undergraduate, master's and doctoral programs. Explore our prospectus, where every curriculum is designed to STEMatize every discipline, dignify local authorship, and credential transformative knowledge. Be STEMatized, be sovereign. Here, knowledge is authored, not borrowed. Curriculum is credentialed, not copied. Every graduate becomes an architect of transformation. With 2 annual intakes, March and September, the path to innovation is always open. From the logic of automation to the soul of indigenous intelligence, SRU is where tomorrow is designed. Springfield isn't just a university, it's an epicenter of epistemic dignity. Join the movement. Study where learning governs itself. Springfield Research University, the globe is here. Where are you?
Welcome back. let's continue with our discussion. What advice would you give to a young person who feels like giving up because life is too expensive?
Thank you, Doctor. When a young person says, life's too expensive, I feel like giving up, they are not talking about money. Not money alone. They are talking about exhaustion, about caring more than their age should ever carry, about waking up every day to fight battles they never chose, about feeling like the world is moving forward while they are running in place. And I want that young person to hear me clearly. You are not weak. You are overwhelmed, and there is a difference. Life is heavy right now, not because you are failing, but because the times are hard. The cost of living is not just financial, it is emotional, mental, spiritual. It drains hope, it steals joy, it makes the future feel like a distant rumor. But giving up is not the answer. Not because you must be strong every day, but because your story is not finished. When life becomes too expensive, you must shift from caring everything to caring only what matters. You must simplify your battles. You must choose survival over performance. You must choose progress over perfection. You must choose breath over pressure. And hear this truth. You do not need to win today. You only need to continue. Sometimes resilience is not roaring. It is whispering. I will try again tomorrow. You protect yourself by breathing like breaking life into smaller pieces, one deal at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. You protect yourself by asking for help before you collapse, doctor. You protect yourself by resting without guilt. You protect yourself by remembering that your worth is not measured by your wallet. And above all, you protect yourself by holding on to this. Hard seasons do not last. But people who refuse to give up, even quietly, even slowly, outlive the storm. The young person listening, you are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to pause. But you are not allowed to disappear. Not now. Not when your future still needs you. Not when your story still has chapters left to write. Stay, hold on, breathe. Your breakthrough may not be loud, but it is coming.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people turn financial pressure into motivation rather than despair?
Thank you, Doctor. So financial pressure can crush a young person, or it can curve them. It can suffocate hope, or it can sharpen purpose. The difference is not in the pressure itself. It is in the story you tell yourself while you are under it. Pressure becomes despair when you believe it is punishment. Pressure becomes motivation when you understand it is preparation. So a young person must first shift their inner narrative. Instead of saying, life is attacking me, they must begin to say, life is training me. Training my discipline. Training my creativity. Training my resilience. Training my ability to survive storms that would break others. Because the truth is this, diamonds are not born in comfort, doctor. They are born in pressure. To turn pressure into motivation, a young person must do three things. Number one is personalize the struggle, not as a case, but as a calling. Ask, what is this season trying to teach me? Every hardship carries a lesson. Budgeting, humility, innovation, endurance. When you find the lesson, you find the strength. And secondly, break the mountain into steps. Despair comes from looking at everything at once, you see. Motivation comes from conquering one small piece at a time. One bill, one skill, one idea, one day. Small victories create momentum, and momentum creates hope. And third, use pressure as a mirror, not as a verdict. Pressure reveals your gaps, not to shame you, but to guide you. If you need a new skill, learn it. If you need a new strategy, build it. If you need a new environment, seek it. Pressure is information. Use it. And here is the deeper truth. Despair asks, why me? Motivation asks, what's next? When a young person shifts from questioning their suffering to directing their energy, something powerful happens. The same pressure that once threatened to break them becomes the force that pushes them forward. Because pressure is not the enemy, but hopelessness is. And the antidote to hopelessness is purpose. So to the young person listening, let pressure work with you, not weaken you. Let it push you, not paralyze you. Let it shape you into someone who can survive any economy, any season, any storm. Your struggle is not the end of your story. It is the chapter where your strength is born.
Thank you, Professor. Finally, what is your message to every young person who is fighting silently to survive the cost of living?
Thank you, Doctor. So, to every young person fighting silently, carrying the weight of bills, expectations, dreams, and disappointments, hear me with the fullness of your heart. You are doing far better than you think, and you are surviving battles most people will never see. I know the nights are long. I know the pressure is loud. I know the world feels expensive and unforgiving and indifferent to your effort. I know you wake up some days already tired, already overwhelmed, already questioning whether your strength is enough. But I want you to remember this. Your struggle is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of your refusal to give up. You are still standing. You are still trying. You are still showing up in a world that keeps testing you. That alone makes you extraordinary. Do not let the silence of your fight convince you that you are alone. You are part of a generation carrying a heavy load with courage that history will one day honor. You are part of a story still unfolding, still rising, still becoming. And hear this truth deeply. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not defeated. You are becoming wiser, becoming stronger, becoming more resilient than you ever imagined. The cost of living may be high, but the value of your life is higher. So hold on. Not because everything is easy, but because you are worth the fight. Your dreams are worth the fight. Your future is worth the fight. And when the world finally sees what you built from the rubble, they will not believe the strength it took to get here. But you will know. You will know that you survived the season designed to break you, and you walked out of it unbroken. To every person fighting silently, you are seen. You are needed. You are stronger than this moment. And your story is not done. Keep going. Your dawn is closer than you think. Thank you, Doctor, for having me.
Thank you, President, for transforming survival into strategy. Your message tonight reminds us that the cost of living is not just an economic challenge, it is a skills challenge. We have shown young people that resilience is built through competence, not fear. To our audience, if you are ready to strengthen your skills, sharpen your adaptability, and build a future that can withstand economic pressure, Springfield Research University invites you to join a community where survival becomes empowerment. Visit www.springfieldresearchuniversity.net to begin. This brings us to the end of tonight's edition of Springfield Career Insights. May your skills protect your dignity and expand your opportunities. I am Clarence, your host. Good night.